What's up guys, in the works, and today we are taking a look at the UMP45, or as I've been calling it, the new MP45, because DICE basically gave this thing the biggest facelift in Battlefield 3 history, because this thing is drastically changed. They changed it from being a 25 damage weapon and they boosted it back up to where it was in the beta and made it a 34 damage weapon within 8 meters. So this thing got an epic facelift. You know, they completely changed the landscape of the way this thing behaves. But we are playing some rush gameplay today. You're going to see a lot of snippets here of some objective gameplay with the UMP. Because I know a lot of you guys would rather see objective gameplay as opposed to going into a TDM. And objective play is what I've always liked about the UMP. I've always used this weapon. You guys know if you watch my videos, I've done several videos with the UMP. It's just always been one of my favorites. I've always just liked this weapon. Now, when they kind of brought it back down to earth in the after the beta, you know, they were like, okay, it was too powerful in the beta. We'll show you guys. We'll make it absolutely pointless in the actual game. That's why you didn't really see a lot of people using the UMP. It was outclassed in a lot of scenarios. You know, it only shoots 600 rounds per minute. It didn't really have its place. I think just outside of short range, right when medium range started, was kind of the sweet spot for the UMP before they actually patched it. Now they've kind of done a 180, because before it held its damage a little bit longer than some of the other PDWs. Now it's the opposite. It's a heavy hitter up close, but then it starts its drop off at 8 meters. So outside of 8 meters, you're going to see drop off from the 34 damage, and it drops off fast. Much faster than any of the other PDWs. I think the only one that kind of comes close to it is the AS Val, but I don't really consider the AS Val a PDW. So in terms of true PDWs, the UMP drops off the fastest. You know, it's going to reach that 12.5 damage faster than any of the other PDWs in this class. So a lot of people looked at it, they're like, okay, they're reducing the minimum damage too. That might be a kind of a downgrade, because I know a lot of people like to use the UMP to snipe because the recoil on this thing is so controllable. But you know, as someone who's used the UMP quite frequently, I can tell you guys it behaves very much the same. There's not too many changes in terms of the way the recoil behaves, the way you could use to, you know, snipe people at longer ranges. I just find it kind of funny that DICE basically took its old damage model and flipped it backwards. So instead of being this PDW that held its damage longer than the other ones, it's become the opposite. It's a heavy hitter up close, but then at longer ranges it's not as powerful. So even though I can still snipe with it, you know, I'm not gonna lie, this thing still gets the job done. As someone who's used it quite frequently, I don't really have a problem with the changes. In fact, I'm quite happy with them. They seem to really get the job done. I like that you can actually use this thing in close quarters though, because one of the things that I've always liked about the UMP is that I can put it on any class. You know, if I need to play recon, need to play support, it's kind of like that mini assault rifle that I've always desired. Now I know the AS Val is also a good choice for those scenarios, but something about the UMP and its controllable recoil just has always been really attractive to me. And if I'm ever like tanking, a lot of times you'll see me using this on the engineer class as my my tank weapon, because you know, in most situations you get out of the tank, you're going to be right up against somebody, and I find that the UMP just has always worked well in that scenario. Now that it has this little buff, it's definitely going to be one of my favorites for tanking. Just because you can get out and expect to kill somebody in 3 bullets. So the time to kill on this thing has greatly improved. The handling on it feels pretty much the same, so if you're a fan of the handling pre-patch, it's going to be the same weapon, guys. You know, it's not going to feel any differently. If you haven't tried the UMP, now's the time, because this thing is new and improved. That's why we're calling it the new MP45. It is completely changed. It is a brand new animal, and it feels like it has its own place in the game now. It's one of those unique weapons. It kind of reminds me of the AN94 or maybe like the G3. One of those weapons that kind of has this sweet spot, as DICE likes to call it, where it excels in a certain scenario, and it does really well in close quarters now. And you know, even though it only has 25 rounds, it's still a hip-fire monster. So if you missed any of my other patch videos, I did an M16A3 video yesterday, as well as an M416 video. Both of those weapons got some drastic overhauls like the UMP, so check either of those out, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.